This video is going to leave Super Jimtendo in shambles. He's just going to be mentally broken because for the first time in like 2 years, I'm doing a pickups video. Now, I've done pickups on other videos, like my convention visits and things like that, but not just a specific pickup video in a couple of years. The reason behind that is, honestly, I haven't really had a great pickup score outside of going to a show, but this weekend, things changed. I went to a local community garage sale and I scored big. According to Pricecharting, I got about $185 worth of games for the low price of $52, and we're gonna look at all of them right now. I got 3 Genesis and 9 NES, and there is some absolute quality stuff in here. Now, they're not super clean. The labels are kind of banged up. There's stickers on some of them from rental places, which personally I love, but I know a lot of people don't like. But for me, this was a great score. And for other viewers as well, I actually had a viewer that was there, friend of the channel, T-Jax, was there as well, and he scored some really killer stuff. He actually got Power Blade for $28 from this dude. And I'm just over the moon with this particular sale. It was fantastic. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go alphabetical by console. I'm gonna throw up what the value is for each game, show you some gameplay, talk about each one, because while not every game in this list is gonna be for everybody, this is a super cool score that I am really excited to share with you guys. And up first is Asterix and the Great Rescue. Now, I've talked about Asterix the Gaul on previous videos plenty of times, actually. He's one of my favorite characters. He's a fantastic licensed character. You guys know how much I love my licensed games. And he had a wonderful couple of entries on the Genesis and the Mega Drive. And this one right here, Asterix and the Great Rescue, is awesome because not only did this have a Genesis entry, it also had a Sega Master System entry. They both play completely differently, but this one here is particularly fun. It's a great little action platformer. You get to play as Asterix or Obelix, and you go through different levels and you complete each one. I mean, it's a classic platformer. And as you play, you're going to get different abilities, different power-ups, different things you can collect to help you get through each level. Like, level 1-2 was vexing me because I couldn't figure out what the hell I was doing wrong, and just grabbing the wrong power-up. I was grabbing the fireballs to throw at the enemies rather than grabbing the ice blocks to climb out. Once I figured that out, smooth sailing. It's a really clever game, though. I really like the animations in it. I think it really sings on the Genesis. It's really shows the strengths of what that console was capable of with some fantastic graphics. Music's pretty good as well, but the gameplay is super solid, and very excited to have this one. This definitely used to be a rental. You can see the sticker on there, and I wish I had more information as to what place it was a rental from, because I just like that history on games. But really excited for Asterix and the Great Rescue. All right, next up is a classic, and one that is a personal favorite and something that I really, really love, and I can't believe that I found Golden Axe 2 in as good a shape as it's in. It's definitely got some issues. There's definitely used to be a sticker on here. It's got to be cleaned up. I got to hit it with some Goo Gone and stuff like that. But for the most part, this thing is in fantastic condition. The label is in great shape. It looks good. It plays fantastically well. And a little bit of a backstory. This is a little bit of inside baseball here for Jay. This is the first Golden Axe game I've ever personally owned. I skipped Golden Axe when I was younger. I'd only ever played it in the arcades. I never owned it on my Genesis, and I just never picked it up after the fact. I've got it on like multi-carts and things like that, but never a solo Golden Axe game. So getting this one right here and being able to play as just fantastic classic characters in a wonderful beat-em-up fantasy setting is amazing. It looks and plays great. The sound is fun. It's tough, man. It is a hardcore game. It's definitely got some difficulty to it, and I'm just loving it. This is a fantastic title. Super stoked to have Golden Axe 2 in my collection. Okay, finally, we have a game that I'm actually replacing in my collection that I traded out about a year ago. This is a Disney game that I used to not care for, but it's something that I've given a little bit more time to, and I've gone back and played a little bit more often recently on emulators and things like that. And I've realized kind of how brilliant it is, and that is Quackshot starring Donald Duck. Now, bonus on this one, you not only get a Blockbuster sticker right there, you also get writing on the label. So this is just like, this is like a holy grail to me. This is finding buried treasure, because this shows a real history of who owned this title, and I think that's really awesome. I've never played Quackshot. It is a beautifully animated game. The sound leaves a lot to be desired. It feels like it's very stock sound effects and stock music, but the gameplay itself is really good once you figure out what the hell you're supposed to do. Like, it took me a long time to realize that I don't just have to start in Duckburg. I can actually go wherever I want to, and when you realize that, and the way that things kind of cascade from there, and the game opens up more and more and more as you go in the right order, it gets to be a lot more fun. It's a really classic platformer with a great look and a fantastic cast of characters, and honestly, anything starring Donald Duck is going to be... Donald Duck? Honestly, anything starring Donald Duck is going to be a win for me. I love the Lucky Dime Caper on the Master System, and Quackshot on the Genesis is a brilliant pickup. And as much as I love those Genesis pickups, the NES ones are somehow even better. Now we're starting off with one that is going to get some question marks, absolutely, because I know this is not everyone's favorite game, but for me, this was a game that I used to rent all the time when I was a kid, just because I loved the idea of being able to manipulate the world via candy, and that is David Crane's A Boy and His Blob. Now, why do I love this game? Because it's kind of an off-the-wall, ridiculous adventure. You play as a boy and you have a pet blob, and every flavor jelly bean you have gives him a different ability, allows him to turn into a different object, and it's your job to go through this fairly simplistic-looking world and use those abilities to collect treasure, to avoid death, and to just explore as much as you're humanly possible, or as blobbinly possible to do. It's an acquired taste, definitely. It's not something that everyone is going to be excited for, and if you're not a fan of A Boy and His Blob, totally get it, totally respect it, but for me, this was a game that I loved when I was younger. It's something that I still enjoy today. I love the Way Forward remake that was on the Wii, that's now on the Switch as well as other consoles, and I just really think that this is a fun game that kind of does some creative stuff that you didn't really see on the NES at the time. It wasn't something that we were expected to see or expected to experience, and I think it should be applauded for what it did. All right, next up, this is one of my all-time favorite games, and it's kind of shocking to me that I didn't already own it because it's just such a great game, but honestly, I'd never really found it at a great price. It was always, every time I'd seen it at a convention, over 20 bucks at least, and as much as I love it, that's not something I was really willing to spend the money on. I wanted to dedicate that money to something else, and finding it at this show for under 10 made me giddy, and that is Blaster Master. This is one of the greatest platforming run-and-gun shooters, isometric shooters, multi-level explorers of all time. It wears a lot of hats, and it wears them very well. You play as Jason, and you're on a quest to save your frog, and you find the Sophia tank, and you go through these different levels, and as you hop out, you're able to swim, you're able to go into different doors, and go into these isometric views that have awesome combat experiences and just a great look. It's a wonderful game. Like, even if it was just the side-scrolling level platforming, it would be an amazing title, but you couple that with the fantastic isometric shooter action as well, and it's one of the best on the NES, with possibly a top 5 soundtrack, no lie. It's kind of Sunsoft at their best. All right, continuing the Sunsoft theme here, we're going to go with another banger of a game, and this is a fantastic licensed game that I think everyone needs to play on the NES, and that is Gremlins 2: The New Batch. Now, if you've not played this one, first off, this is a Sunsoft title, so you know there's quality involved here, but the gameplay is brilliant. It is a top-down, it's a lot kind of like the isometric levels in Blaster Master, to be honest with you, where you play as Gizmo, and you're going to be collecting different objects, and you're going to be throwing tomatoes as a weapon, you're going to be able to find other things as well, like a crossbow, and there's a pogo stick that you can get that allows you to hop around the levels and defeat enemies that way. It's a really awesome game that does a lot of really creative work inside of the license. Like, it doesn't step outside of that license to be something just utterly bizarre, it just works. It's a lot of fun. I really love this one. This is one I hadn't discovered until a couple of years ago. I think Riggs ranked this, and I was like, really? It's that good of a game? And I checked it out, and it sure as hell is. It's a fantastic title. Really excited to get this one. Again, this was a sub $10 game. I could not believe the value on these games that this guy had for sale. I couldn't believe it. Like, I was legitimately floored with how inexpensive his games were. Next up, this is a series I've not played a lot of, but everyone has told me is fantastic, and it's something that I need to pick up and enjoy and play, and this is Iron Sword Wizards and Warriors 2. This is the Fabio cover, as you can see. There he is right there in all his Fabio glory. And it's a really neat platformer. I'm not going to say it's great. This is probably my least favorite experience I've had so far playing a game out of this batch of stuff that I got. But I can see the promise there, and I can see the kind of creative genius behind what's going into it, because if you guys don't know, this was produced by Rare and developed by Rare, so you can see some of those bizarre Rare influences on the game. Like, there's giant googly eyes everywhere. Some of the enemies kind of look like Muppets and look like weird little constructs and things like that that feel like something out of Banjo-Kazooie or Conker's Bad Fur Day just slapped into a 2D environment. It's a tough game. I can't really decide yet if I really like it yet or not, but like I said, I do see kind of the inherent design and genius behind that design in the title. It's not necessarily my favorite yet, but it's something I am having fun with. All right, so here is what is easily the biggest score of this entire haul, and that is Monster Party on the NES. Now, Monster Party, it's not a super valuable game. This isn't like T-Jax did, finding Power Blade for under $30. This is like a $25 game that I got for $7 or $8. And the real thing that sells it for me is, one, this brilliant box art, but also this gorgeous rental sticker from Video Time. This is a store that, obviously, it's a rental store. It doesn't exist anymore, but I just love that look. Look at that fantastic font. And the game itself is worth the price of admission. This is one that I would have been happy to pick up at sticker price, but to get it significantly cheaper makes me happy. You play as a young human boy, and you're in a world just dominated by monsters, and it's your job to go through with your baseball bat and beat the hell out of them. There's little sub-bosses throughout each level that you're going to find hidden in each room. You have to go in and fight them, figure out the pattern to defeat them, and the best way to attack them, and it's such a fun game. Like, it's a purely enjoyable title. It doesn't do anything terribly ambitious or do anything crazy. It just works, and it's just really fun, and honestly, that's all you can really ask for with a great NES game. Monster Party is fantastic. This is a Bandai title, and it's something where I was really shocked to see it, because this was kind of the first pedal to fall when I was looking through this stack of NES games, or these bins of NES games that this gentleman had, and I saw that and I went, wait a minute. That's one I hardly ever see, first of all, and the prices I've seen on everything else is fantastic. If that's under 20, I'm getting it, and for it to be under 10, I couldn't pull the trigger fast enough. He was doing a buy 3, get 1 free sale as well, so I bought 12 games, but I only paid for 9 of them. Next up, one of my favorite arcade classics, and a game that I think is brilliant on the NES, that is Popeye. Now, if you guys don't know why I love Popeye so much, so Popeye to me is a connection to my grandfather. My grandfather was a World War II veteran. He fought in the Navy. He was a PT boat torpedoman, and he always said that he was in the Navy with Popeye, and as a kid, of course, I believed him. It was my grandfather. And he used to make all these fantastic drawings of Popeye, and they looked just like Popeye that I saw in the cartoons, so why would my grandfather be lying? Of course he was telling the truth. He had to be in the Navy with Popeye. He knew just what he looked like. My grandfather wouldn't watch cartoons. And it was just one of those things where I've had a love of the character my whole life because of him. Because of being able to watch those cartoons with him when I was younger, or seeing the Robin Williams film, or finding this in the arcades when I was 7, and playing this as one of my first arcade experiences, and then getting it on my NES as I grew older. It's just one of those ties I have to my grandfather, who's one of the most important people in my life and taught me most everything I know. So to be able to have this again, and in such great shape, like this is in absolutely pristine condition, just makes me happy. I'm really thrilled to have Popeye back, and this will be a shelf space of honor for forever. All right, sticking with the rare theme of Wizards and Warriors 2, this is Snake, Rattle, and Roll, and this game is so hard. I suck at it. I'm absolutely terrible at this title, and it's one that I had only played a couple of times. I think I only ever played it on Rare Replay on my Xbox One, and I kind of forgot that it was an NES game. Like, I think I knew it was, but I never really kind of maintained that information. It was just something that was like, oh yeah, it's that Snake game that Rare made. And when I saw it at this sale, I got really excited because it was $2, and it's a Rare game for $2. I can't beat that. And I wish I had seen Slalom there, because Slalom is another Rare game that I really love, and I would have picked that one up as well. But to find Snake, Rattle, and Roll, while it's not a terribly expensive game, to find it for only $2 was really a treat, and I was really happy to get this one and add it to my collection, because it's nothing I've ever owned before, and I'm just excited to play it on original hardware and be able to enjoy it. It's a really fun game. All right, next up, this is one of my favorite RPGs on the NES, and this is Ultima 4 Quest of the Avatar. Now, you might be asking yourself, didn't Jay already buy this one? Didn't he get this at Midwest Gaming Classic, complete in box? And you are correct, I did. But if you have not seen the short where I opened it to clean the pins, witness the horror. Hey everybody, just wanted to show you something I've just experienced. So if you guys saw the convention video from today, I picked this game up. Yeah, it's a little dinged up, but I was taking it apart to get things clean today. And let this be a word of warning to you. Bring your toolbox with you to conventions, because if I had taken the time to open this guy, I would have seen the corrosion. Damn shame. Yeah, complete and utter corrosion. The game had been just completely eaten up by battery acid, and I wanted to be able to find another copy of it. Now, sure, I could have done a resolder on a battery and stuff like that, but it's not something I'm comfortable doing. It's not something I've ever done in my life. It was just honestly easier for me to buy another copy of the game. And eventually I can use that previous copy of Ultima to work on and see if I can learn how to solder that way, or my wife can learn how to solder. She's kind of the crafty person out of the two of us. She's the one that has that kind of skill set, so she'll probably be practicing on that one to see if she can learn how to resolder a battery backup. But I'm really excited to have this one. I love the Ultima series, and this is a fantastic game with a really great combat system and a really great storyline and kind of way it's developed. So as you go through, you answer a series of questions to determine what your, not really alignment, but kind of what your class is, and based on what you choose, whether it's honesty or compassion or justice or valor, is what you end up being as a class. And like if you're valor, you're a knight. If it's justice, you're a druid. Things like that. It's a really excellent series of questions and a really excellent way to set up a game that I thoroughly enjoy. And it's one of those things. It's one of those signature things about the Ultima series that I love. And this is a fantastic game, and I'm really excited to have this in my collection again for the second time, but this time in a functional capacity. And last, and certainly most least, this is the first Wizards and Warriors. So I got Wizards and Warriors and Wizards and Warriors 2 on this trip. I had played Wizards and Warriors when I was younger, and I remember not liking it. But I chalked that up to being young and it being NES hard and me not really giving it a fair shake. And I am here to tell younger Jay that you were right. It's not a great game. This one will probably be flipped down the road. I played it, and yeah, it's just not fun. It's just really not a game where I go, man, this thing is fantastic. It's not. It's really repetitive. It's really kind of dodgy control-wise, and it's not spectacular. You're much better off with the second one, but I mean, hey, it's Wizards and Warriors, and it was under $3, so yeah, I wanted to at least give it a shot. I don't feel like I'm out a lot of money that way. All right, there you have it, my friends. A good old-fashioned pickups video that I have not done in a very, very long time. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know if you did. I'll be doing more of these down the road. And if you didn't like it, Jimmy, sorry, you'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming later this week. Let me know in the comments down below what game I picked up that is your favorite. Let me know if there's one I need to spend a lot more time with that you feel is a quality hidden gem. And until next time, remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.